Sri Bala was a very down-to-earth gentleman who studied with Swamiji and in fact played a role in me deciding to follow my father's footsteps in this tradition. So when I was having doubts as a 18-year-old, what was it, 17, 18-year-old, that maybe I should be an architect and, go off and do my own stuff like Ayn Rand in Fountainhead suggested, which is a book that no young person should ever read. But Sri Bala was one of those people who actually helped me understand the perspective of what this tradition was and what a gift it was to be born into this tradition and to take it forward. So Sri Bala took Swamiji's teachings and he created a system called vibrational breath therapy in Australia, VBT, and became very popular. After he is leaving the body, the system sort of degenerated and you don't find much of it now, except Bernadette, who tried her best to keep his work going. And he modeled the vibrational breath therapy on the pranava. So the pranava pranayama was the core of the vibrational breath therapy, along with some work on Savitri, a bit of the mudras. I don't know if he used much of the hatenas, and Swamiji's Yoga Nidra. Now, as you know, Swamiji's Yoga Nidra is different than the Bihar school of Yoga Nidra. There's a big difference between both. And he had amazing results. In fact, we were to be down in Australia for his, 90th birthday, and just a week before that, he left the body. And so a conference to be held and celebrating his birthday became a conference held in celebrating his passing on. So it was very interesting for that. Now, this image is very important because it reminds us why the pranava is so important for healing. One of the classifications Swamiji gives to pranayama is this healing pranayamas as part of the agamas, the first 80 pranayamas of the 120 in the Gitananda system. Pranava is a healing pranayama, and here we realize that when we are working with the akara nada, the sound of it's a guttural sound. You are working on the lower part of the lungs. This resonates with the lower part of the body. And it resonates with the old primitive part of our nervous system called the brainstem, the reptilian complex. So the reptilian complex, which is based on survival mode, is the R part. So you can see that reptilian complex here works on that primitive part of us. That is why whenever you have pain, whenever you are shocked, one of the commonest sounds is ah. When you are in pain, you don't go, I hope you don't do that. If you do that, you need to get your mental health checked up, okay? When you are shocked, when you are in pain, that is a very primitive sound that comes from that old conditioning, the paleo. Paleo means old. Paleo part of your nervous system, which is the reptilian. The ukara nada, the sound of oo, that you have to make a kaki mudra. Ooh. When you make the ukara nada, the middle part of the lungs, the madhyama, the upper part of the body. So this upper part of the body and the hands, this is supplied by the energy that comes out of this region, and this works on the mammalian part of our brain, which is to do with emotions. Mammals love to play. There's a lot of playing. And if you need a mnemonic to remember this, pucker your mouth up, ooh, to make the ooh. And this is how mammals kiss each other. Ooh. So there's a lot of emotions. Okay, I'm trying to give you ways to remember these things. Mammals thrive on emotions. The limbic system is very much part of that. So when we human beings become emotional imbeciles, and there are a lot of emotional imbeciles masquerading as human beings on this planet today, with no emotional regulation at all, you are as good as any other mammal, not human at that point of time. There's a lot of the mammalian. So what are you doing? You're working with that part of you. With the R, you're working with the reptilian part of your nervous system, the U, the mammalian part, the mid part of the body, and then you come into the Adhyam Pranayama with the Makara Nada. Is the sound of satiety. Did you have a nice meal? Huh? Did you have a nice meal? Ah! No, that's not a nice meal. Did you have a nice meal? Ooh! No. Did you have a nice meal? Satiety is Makara is satiety. Satiety can only come when your human part of your nervous system is working. Contentment cannot come when you are a mammal. Contentment cannot come when you are a reptile. Contentment can only come when you are a human being. And through that contentment, you develop santosha. Through santosha, you attain anuttama sukha labha, says Maharishi Patanjali. So this upper part of the lungs is where the makara nada. And this vibrates up into your head. Now your head is small structure. So you say, oh my God, look at the ah got a lot. Ooh got a lot and just got a little bit. But what did the get? It got your whole brain. Got your special senses. Got your cranial nerves. Imagine how much is being governed by that makara nada. And that is why when you hum, along with the nitric oxide and all that other biochemical nonsense, the most important part is you develop the capacity for satiety. To say I've had enough is a human being. No animal ever says I've had enough because they don't know where they'll get their next meal. You are a human being. You know that you can choose to have a meal when you want to have it in most normal circumstances. Now, there are abnormal circumstances which I'm not going to talk about. In a normal circumstances, you know that if you skip lunch, you can have dinner. If you skip dinner, you can have breakfast, most probably. So you can choose to say, I will pass over that serving. Somebody else can have it. That is the capacity that human neocortex is bringing. So when you bring together in the pranava, what you are doing is that you are bringing together, you are yoking, you are integrating all aspects of your lungs. You are integrating all parts of your physical body. You are integrating all parts of your nervous system. This is one level. With the you are working on the sthula sharira, the gross body. With the U, you are working on the sukshma sharira, which has the connectivity with your pranamaya kosha, your vital sheath, physiological existence, manomaya kosha, your mental sheath, your psychological existence, and don't forget the vijnanamaya kosha, your intellectual sheath that has the capacity of discernment. And discernment implies three powers: Icha, Jnana, and Kriya Shakti. Icha Shakti is the power of will, intent. Jnana is the power of knowledge. And Kriya is the power of action. You should know what you should do, you should want to do it, and you should do it. I want to save the world. What are you doing about it? Sitting on the couch, eating potato chips and becoming a couch potato. Why? There is no Kriya Shakti. You have Icha Shakti. Yes, you want to save the world. You have, Jnana Shakti. You know it needs saving. Are you doing anything about it? Well, I filled out an online petition last week. And to hell with your online petitions. None of them, nobody reads them. What did you do? Icha, Kriya, Jnana. All three have to work. The problem is with our terrorist friends. These people, they have a lot of Icha, they have a lot of Kriya, but no Jnana at all. So they want to destroy, and they go and destroy, but they don't know that as a human being, you are not meant to destroy. They don't have the Jnana. So you have people who are very good, but do nothing. You have people who are very bad, who do everything. And then the in between us, who are caught up in social media, wasting time. You need to have all three. That is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. So when you work with the Ukara Nada, you're working with the Sukshma Sharira, all the subtle aspects of you, which are, I must remind you, as real as your fingers and toes. Why do you have 5 fingers and 5 toes? Because there are 5 flows of energy on each side of the body. Oh, I have 5 fingers, so I have 5 energy. No, no, no. You have 5 flows of energy. Those 5 flows of energy, make sure that you have 5 fingers and toes so those energies can have a physical representation. Please remember, always manifestation is causal, subtle, gross. It's never from gross. Manifestation is always from the causal, from the karana through the sukshma into the stula. But then when you start your journey and you have to do something about it, you start with the stula. You start with what is in your hand. I have my body. I have my breath. I have some amount of control over my mind. Use that to impact the subtle, to impact and go back to the causal. So the psychosomatics and the somatopsychics. You're bringing it all together. So you're bringing, when you do the ha, the stula, oh, the sukshma, and as it fades out from the ahata to the anahata, when that goes from the ahata, the made sound, to the anahata, the unmade sound, well, then you're starting to touch that causal consciousness. Another aspect, when you are doing the akara nada, it is related to the wakeful consciousness, jagrat. In jagrat, when you awake, you have an experience called the Vaishwa. The Vishwa or the Vaishwa, which is the experience of wakefulness and the world around you. When you are going into the it is the Swapna. And in Swapna, you see all your Swapna Sundaris or Swapna Sundaras, whatever they are, depending on your perspective. Huh? Lodika, there's a very nice Swapna Sundari song, you know, a recent song. Huh? It's okay, I will not talk about it. It's a bit naughty song, but it's Swapna Sundari. All that is in your dream state, your dream girl or dream boy. Huh? A dream man, whatever. Huh? All that is in your sleep consciousness, which is called Swapna, REM sleep. You flutter your eyelids during that moment. Huh? And then the non-rapid eye movement, NREM part, Sushupti, where you connect to the cosmos. Adi Shankara in Dashasloki tells us, in that Shushupteka Siddha, in that Shushupti, you realize Tadeko Vashishta Shiva Kevaloham. I am that pure consciousness. You realize whenever you are in Sushupti. Problem is you don't know you are in Sushupti because you are deep asleep. That is why we do Yoga Nidra, so that we can realize it without sleeping. You can attain Shushupti without sleeping. That is Yoga Nidra, not any technique popularized by anybody and trademarked in the name of I rest. My dear Richard Miller, God bless him. Nice guy, but that is a bit of sacrilege from my point of view. Coming back, Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti. But beyond Shushupti, there is Turiya, the transcendental zone. And that is why when you chant the 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 Ma together, you move into that Turiya. But then our Indian consciousness doesn't stop with that. It says if there's a beyond, there's a beyond the beyond. So it says there's something Atita, beyond the Turiya, Turiya Atita. Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti, Turiya and Turiya Atita, which is actually basically where you are getting into that state of Kaivalya, Nirguna Parabrahma, all of those type of experiences. So again, we are working with a different consciousness. So though these are brought in Vedanta, though these are brought in philosophy, these are brought in psychology, they are not made of practicality. Na Vishwo na va taijan sab prajna kova. These are terms that Adi Shankara, when he negates all of this, he says, because ultimately you want to realize I am that pure consciousness. That is the goal. So when we are doing the pranava, it is not just another technique. Oh, breathe in and breathe out. You're breathing in and then you're breathing out for 2 to 3 times the duration. When you breathe out, you change your physiology because you you recruit your vagal tone. The longer you breathe out, the more stronger your vagal tone will become. The stronger your vagal tone, the better control over your autonomic nervous system, the better control over your, or let's use the word regulation, the better self-regulation of your autonomic function, the better the self-regulation of your autonomic function, the healthier you are going to be, the calmer you are going to be, the clearer you are going to be. And that is why the pranava is the ultimate healing practice. It is an amazing healing modality. Whenever in doubt, you want to help somebody, you don't know what to do, choose the pranava. That is always a safe option. The pranava is going to help them heal for sure.